Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Outside of Life, where it's all about how you can turn your creative passion into a profession. My name is Eva, and my guest today is super talented artist and animator originally from Sofia, Bulgaria, now based in San Francisco, working with Pixar Animation Studios. Her film credits include Good Dinosaur, Inside Out, Monsters University, Brave, Cars 2, and Dam Keeper. She has just released her first book, Raw Material Volume 1, including drawings of different techniques she has experimented with throughout the years. So please welcome Eliza Ivanova. I would like to know if you remember how your childhood smelled like.
Ooh, good question. All right, childhood. Well, I'm Bulgarian. I was born and raised there. Moved to the U.S. when I was 17. So definitely my whole childhood was in Bulgaria. And I'm also half Armenian. My grandparents on my mom's side are Armenian. So I want to say there's a lot of cinnamon I can think of.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I guess it smells like cinnamon. That's cool. I like that.
I like it.
Cinnamon and onions. There you go.
That's an interesting combination.
Yes, very Eastern European.
Yeah, because people are usually saying like Eastern European, like Czech or Slovakia, that's like a cabbage thing. So I'm like,
Oh,
yeah, like a lot of cabbage. I'm like, I don't remember eating cabbage that much, but yeah.
yeah. We had cabbage too. All
Yeah.
kinds. So, spoiled.
Yeah. And
That's fun.
and if you think about like when you were drawing as a child, do you remember what was the first time you kind of decided I want to do this professionally?
Drawing, you mean, or animation? Or both?
Or maybe both. Kind of what was the switch? Or maybe you can take us through some like biggest points in your story.
Okay. Well, this is hard work. I mean, like it's like therapy. It's great. So, I started kind of professionally drawing, meeting with a teacher. Hardcore going to school for it when I was 12. My mom had really good friend who put us in contact with um, an artist and teacher. His name is Garo Morijan,
Mhm.
and he was in the same city that I lived. So he had a private studio. I think he still does it to this day, where he would teach students life drawing and how to, it's kind of like art fundamentals, but then slowly progresses to like harder stuff. We start
Yeah.
with still life and then go to, um, you know, bust of models,
Yeah.
casts, not real people yet, and then eventually go to life drawing of, either clothing or nude figures.
Hmm.
So I was getting prepared to go to the Bulgarian, to the art academy
Yeah.
and, study there, become a professional painter. This kind of was my goal through high school.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, since I guess my early teens, preteens, I was like,
Hmm.
okay, I'm gonna definitely paint or become a professional at this at some point. But I kind of always had interest in film. Like I loved film, loved animation, and I guess in the back of my mind, it was like the idea of going into film was like turning. So when I was a junior in high school, I kind of decided it just happened. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
like, oh, I kind of want to do animation because it's a blend between film and drawing,
Mm.
which was a little bit of dropping the bomb to everybody because it's like for the last 5 or 6 years I've been preparing for something different. All of a sudden, right before graduation, going to college, I'm like, oh no, let me completely change the shift and go into something else.
It's like
But I think it was fine because you're probably familiar with this. Art schools, animation schools as well. They definitely require art fundamentals.
Mhm.
Foundation to have that foundation from the get-go. I mean, before going there.
Yeah.
So I had it, and it was just a matter of, putting on the correct portfolio pieces and hopefully hear back from them. So yeah, that's kind of how I went into that route. And I started researching people that I really respected in animation, like where they went to school, how I kind of learned about CalArts. And went there.
And what was your first discussion with your parents when you told them you want to change?
Yeah, I think it was a little of a shock. I know my art teacher took it the hardest because he thought I was just throwing away all that knowledge.
Yeah.
But I just want to reassure him that none of this is going to waste. Like everything I have, I'll still do it. I'll still paint. I'll still draw. But I just wanted to somehow get into the cinema world.
And so, what fascinated you?
My parents are always, they're the best. Like, they're always supportive of my crazy decisions, and I'm glad I haven't really disappointed them yet. I think it's weird. Like once they kind of entrust me with okay, you're doing this, that's when I'm like, okay, so I'm really doing this now. I can't back out now because I've committed. So definitely, support from family is crucial for that stuff.
Yeah, and do they go for some premieres with you, like on the films you worked on, or are they still in Bulgaria?
Yeah.
Or
yeah, they're still in Bulgaria, and they come to visit every once in a while. But actually, you mean for Pixar films?
Yeah, or basically anything you worked on and you are super proud, and if they come to see it, then
usually, it's kind of unfortunate that the releases happen at times where it's crunch time here. So I actually haven't been to a premiere of a Pixar film with them. I don't think.
So then maybe on to-do list.
Definitely, that's a good idea. I know though when they go see the movies, and they definitely tell me oh, okay, I want to see this, and they're waiting for the credits, so they're all cheering. When my name comes, I'm sure people around are what's wrong with these people? But yeah, definitely when I was at school, they came to CalArts for some stuff. I have my films rolling there. They're supportive, but it's far. It's far to come here just for that. So we're just trying to combine it with some sightseeing, vacation. Same when I go there.
Definitely. And so what was maybe the best lesson your parents taught you?
The best lesson would be to be consistent, and definitely if I say something, to do it. Because a lot of times, you get passionate about something and either it fizzles out and you don't really, it kind of goes nowhere, or you try it and it's really hard and you're it's not really for me. I learned this from very early on. It's just gotta muscle through the hard times and hope for the best, but definitely don't give up. Because sometimes it's weird how you think you're going nowhere with something, even in my personal projects. Like right now, I'm doing this short film, and I had to put it on pause for a little bit because work got really busy. And all of a sudden, oh my God, this is going to be completed. But when I step back and look at how much we've done already, it kind of dawned on me that we've done a ton that I didn't realize. So it doesn't feel as scary anymore. It does feel when you kind of you realize there's so much more to do. But yeah, it's happening.
Yeah, and is there something you wish you knew before you started your art career?
I guess I wish that I would experiment more when I was early on, and kind of not dismiss a lot of things people say, oh, try this or try that, for the sake of just being an art snob, which I think I was. Weird enough, I was a lot more before than now. Now I'm kind of a sponge again. Like I'm embracing everything. I'm like, oh, I want to know more techniques.
Mhm.
Even in school, there was college, there was a kind of this tendency to dismiss 3D animation as
Mhm.
being commercial sellout thing, where in reality it's just a tool, right? Like anything else.
Yeah.
So I didn't pay much attention to like, focusing on 3D, and I
Mhm.
got lucky that when Pixar invited me to do the internship here, they offered to teach me 3D
Nice.
versus other studios that they needed. Like I had to know Maya before going there, and I
Mhm.
didn't. So they're like, sorry. So, but Pixar was like, the artistry part, like we'll teach you the software, and that's kind of when my eyes opened, like, oh, well, yeah, of course, it's a tool. It's so simple, but
Yeah.
sometimes I'm too quick to be like, no. So that's definitely like if I want to tell something to my younger self, it's like no, just embrace it all, just be open, because you would never know. Like sometimes the best ideas come out of nowhere,
Yeah.
something you've never tried before.
Yeah, definitely. And so let's back up a bit with the internship and how you send the portfolio because for people who are not in US, so how did that look like? Or so you were in Bulgaria, then you just put it together a portfolio and you send it to Pixar and they invited you, or there was
No,
something around?
I was already in LA. That
Okay.
was for college. Yeah, definitely didn't happen when I was overseas. Um, I mean, I'm sure it's happened for some people. It's just
Yeah.
everybody has kind of a different route. Even here at the studio, there's a bunch of people who don't even draw and are
Hmm.
brilliant animators. So I know every person has their own journey. My journey, I think, the moment that I can remember that was pivotal was 1 year before graduation. I made a film. It was about 4 minutes. It's on my Vimeo called Piece of Cake, and it got pretty good attention, both at school as well as like in festivals. He did really well, which to me was just like a pleasant surprise, especially when you're super tired from school. You're like, oh, thank you, it's paying off all this hard work. Um, and I ended up winning best film of like our department at CalArts
Nice.
for that year, which was amazing. It was like
Yeah.
so like such a cool surprise. Uh, and my film was screened in this kind of a cool event where there's a bunch of people in the industry who come and check it out. So I think that's when there where Pixar
Hmm.
noticed me.
Yeah.
And later that year we had a job fair to work. Sorry, I'm tired. At school where it's pretty much the same thing. It's just on the college campus turf
Hmm.
where, professionals come, they will see your work. And, the Pixar guys, both recruiters and talent, they remembered me. So they're like,
Ah,
oh, you're
cool.
that film girl. I'm like, awesome, that's me. So they asked me to, that's when they asked me to submit an actual reel
Yeah.
to them, and go through like the regular pipeline. So I had to compile a reel. I believe it was like a minute and a half,
Hmm.
no more than that, of like my film stuff, from the films that I made, plus some like animation tests to kind of show a range of stuff that I've done. Yeah, and I submitted it. And
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
then they gave me a callback, which is awesome.
So cool.
It was
And
fun, definitely.
yeah, definitely, because it's such a cool story. It's like, yeah, I did this, and then.
It sounds like, oh yeah, it was like one ABC. But at the time, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just hoping for the best. And when you're at school, you're in a bubble, and you just hear kind of people what you're doing. So I've heard people submit like 10-minute reels, and I'm like,
Hmm.
mine is a minute and a half. Am I failing? Like, did I just screw my opportunities here? But looking back, it's absolutely fine. Like, people can tell if you're passionate and you know what you're doing, very like quickly in the first 30 seconds or so.
Yeah.
And I've been actually part of the crew here that chooses the next round of interns. So
Nice.
I got to see a bunch of reels too, and it's definitely can tell, like, oh yeah, that person is super unique. They have like ideas in there. So the length didn't matter, but at the time, you don't know.
Yeah, yeah. And so, what do you think about now the branding, or how do you position yourself maybe on the market, and what would be maybe your vision, what you put in all of your personal work? Is there something you try to communicate in everything?
And I've been super into pencils for the last 5 years, just drawing graphs. I love it. It's something I want to do all the time if I can. So even that, I can see how that kind of start to seep into my animation. So if I were to do a reel now, it'll probably be a lot more experimental than when I was, at school, and just kind of push for a different look, something that resembles more my personal artwork than just kind of like a standard animation look.
Yeah.
Like I really want to do that eventually. I know it takes a lot more work and thought, but I think it's doable. Where you kind of start to see your own art moving. If that makes
Yeah,
sense. Because I don't
definitely.
like when there's like a huge, in my personal work, of course, there's a huge gap between the two where I'm like, oh man, I can't do this in animation, so let me water it down to something more animatable. And I did this one test a few years ago to kind of prove to myself that I shouldn't cut corners and really push for, if I have a vision about this, definitely. So I can send you a link to that. I think it came out cool. I like it. I'm still passionate. It took me 2 months for like 3 seconds, so I'm very proud of it.
That's really cool. And so now when you are, looking for like stories or creating the animation, do you have influence from your personal life and like daily life in all of it? Because you have a young daughter, right? And so all of it happening around you. Is she
Yeah,
drawing with
oh
you
yeah,
as well?
she is.
Yeah.
She's awesome. And she's a critic. I can tell when she really likes something, and I'm like, oh, okay, she's liking it. And if I'm drawing something and she's not like responding, I'm like, what's wrong with it? She's great. And I started. It's weird. Like, you kind of forget how you were as a kid, because you get busy with life. So now that I have her, and like she's getting to an age where I'm starting to sort of see the thought process in her mannerisms and what she does, it brings me back to when I was a kid, and just being hungry for learning, and kind of when you zone out, like you really zone out. So I'm trying to do that, and just when I'm thinking about stories, I want to be subtle and truthful. So whatever that means, sometimes it's things, even in illustrations, they might be vague, but I always try to keep something of a kind of a backstory in mind. And I think that people respond to that. They see something, they're like, I don't really know why I like this, but there's something that I'm drawn to.
Yeah.
Definitely it's like personal life. You just learn more, right? Like life happens, and you get more experience, and you travel. There's the news. So there's a lot to take in, like there's books, magazines. So it's just kind of, you're building your own library. At least that's how I see it, like in your head, and eventually it comes out in whatever form, shape.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
kind of a vague answer, I guess, but it's weird. Like, it's just, you don't really think about it too much until you were about to draw.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have something weird which inspires you?
Weird. Food. I
Yeah?
think food. Yeah. I love food. Love food, and like just textures. I pay attention to that stuff. It's almost like what's that thing called? ASMR, where it's
I don't know.
it, I know it's like it's a new term to me too. It's something that it might be a sound or texture that's very pleasant
Okay.
and it's almost soothing.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of how I see, I guess, food. Weirdly enough. So sometimes I pay attention to textures like, oh, I wish I could get this kind of look in to my
Yeah.
art.
Yeah, because your drawings are really fluid and beautiful, so it makes sense.
Delicious.
Delicious, yeah. But also, your daughter has like different standards of looking at art, because your drawings are amazing, and then if you don't deliver, she's like, no.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's very much like that. And I appreciate it. I appreciate the honesty because I know how hard it is, even for myself, to let go of something if I spend too much time and I just know it's not good. But you're like, but so much hours.
Yeah,
So she's like,
no.
no.
That's perfect, yeah. You should bring her to work all the time, as well.
I do,
Yeah?
and like I think she's just used to this environment, so it's not really that exciting. She's like, oh yeah, of course I'm here. I'm like, but
Good.
cool, right? It's still cool to you. I mean, I don't know. Maybe when we talk about it more and she gets older, she will kind of realize this place is.
Yeah,
I don't
because
know. I
how...
have. I mean, when I see some other kids, they're so excited. I'm like, okay, someone's excited.
It's like, at least someone.
Yeah, at least someone is.
And if you now think about, like, as you mentioned, that you are also choosing new interns and like looking into the portfolios, what would you suggest young people to kind of start with? Or like you mentioned passion, and so maybe if you can mention some things, some tips.
Yeah. Well, okay. It's pretty simple actually when you think from our perspective of like how I think there's usually 1,000 to 1,500 different reels that like some very small crew has to go through, and a lot of times it's just websites. And so I would open a website. I'm like, okay, so where's the animation? You know, and I don't want to be like, okay, there's no direct link, so I'll just next one. I actually look for it, and there's nothing. So that's usually the most jarring case. So I'm like, okay, so what is happening? You just apply to anything for the sake of applying. That's not a good strategy because this is not a gamble. Like no one's going to pick you out of a hat and be like, oh, I just lucked out because I applied to everything with something generic. Sometimes not even drawing. You'll be surprised. Like, it'll be something that had nothing to do with art whatsoever. So definitely don't do that because it's weird. First of all, there's no point. You're just wasting time on your end to just do it. I mean, maybe it's just if you want to say you're applied somewhere, I guess, but it's not going to take you anywhere. And then if you do put a reel, I say go first put your strongest stuff first because that's the first impression. It's kind of like put your strongest stuff first and last. So it's like you get a strong first impression and then you leave the people with like a nice feeling. And in the middle, I would put more, like stuff that either shows that you know about, I don't know, fundamentals. Sometimes, though, that's not necessary, to be honest. Here, I'm sure that's in most studios, we look for ideas. So good storytelling, good acting is key, and entertainment as well. There's people who've applied who are brilliant animators that've done even commercial work, but when there's no personal, like when you don't feel like there's anything speaks out to you, kind of blends with the rest, and you do want to stand out. So that'll be my. I can only say that for animation since I've only done that for animation.
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume it's the same for art. if you want to impress somebody, just, put your stuff that you're most proud of, because essentially that's where you put most thought and care into. I know a lot of times when I was a student too, I would kind of be like, okay, well, I want to make sure I put like some Pixar stuff in there or Disney stuff, which, what does that mean? Yeah, maybe if it looks like the movies, I guess, but at the same time, like, movies are changing all the time. Yeah, there's a common flavor of kind of like the Pixar look, for example, but that's not a requirement at all. If anything, you want people who do their job here every day to see something new and fresh, even if it's weird or different. It's just, think about like making a first impression would be key. Because I remember when Pixar, when they were talking about my work, I had a lot of tests that I've done at school, like a jumping test or an action test or whatever. The things that they most spoke about were my films, because that's where they felt like they saw me as a performer.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And the other stuff is like, yeah, we can see your anime, that's fine, but we like your ideas.
Yeah, because you can always adjust to a style and learn how to do things and the technical thing as well. So yeah, okay. So the idea and just like bring your passion out. So that is good.
I hope it's that helpful. It's tricky because we're in a creative business and industry, so there's really no right answer. I mean, we don't have the right answers all the time either. There's a lot of searching going on. So I wish I could give you a formula.
So maybe something like if someone loves, I don't know, like a jungle and animals and they like to be active, so maybe they have an idea in like running in a jungle and playing with animals or whatever, because then they can have some more ideas in that area because they love it and they know more details about it.
Yeah, exactly. And if you have, I've seen music videos. People submit, instead of a film, they'll make a music video, and it's super entertaining because it's like they love rhythm, playing with like, choreography. That's one route. Some people go a super subtle route, right? They just really want to focus on like truthful performance, almost kind of like live action-y, because they love spending time on the finer details.
Yeah.
Some people don't care. They're like, oh, I love humor. I want to explore just funny bits, and like I really want to make you laugh without being cliche. So it's like everything is a challenge. It's like what does whatever the artist wants to do really. And yeah, if you're passionate about it, that's like focus on that. And then it's fun. You make something fun and people can tell, and then all of a sudden you get somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. And by the way, do you go for a location like inspiration when you travel for movies, or you don't do that much?
Not as much as I want to, because it's pretty crazy. Like once we kind of go in crunch time, you can't really move. You just have to do stuff all the time. Early on, I think for each movie there is a crew that goes in, like, scouts locations. I do too sometimes. Mostly though, I prefer to just shoot reference. Sometimes can be like outside or in my house, because that's where I get subtleties that I didn't really think about, like in performance, even in art, I guess. Same thing. I always have a huge library of my own photos, even if it's bad photos, of just like something in here I know I'm going to use eventually, so let me kind of categorize. So I always kind of have that in mind when I'm out. But usually for drawing. For animation would be more specific to the shot that I'm doing, not just build a library of whatever. Because, animation takes a long time. So usually you want to kind of be specific.
Yeah, definitely. And so what I wanted to ask was more about like when you have so many different projects, and is there something you do daily which kind of contributes to your success? Maybe like meditation, or do you have like strict schedule or
All right, it's
something,
really
specific to you?
misinterpreted your question. Uh, hmm, that's usually at night. I'm a night owl. I love just putting music on and drawing. Like after my daughter's asleep, just kind of like nice quiet time where I can focus. Usually that's kind of my meditation. I mean, I draw a lot of times without even kind of thinking, like consciously. Well, I take that back. Depends on the drawing. Sometimes it's purely for meditation, and you just zone out. You don't really think. It's kind of almost it's like unconscious drawing. And then if it's something that I'm like, okay, I have a very clear idea of what I want to do, I better nail this, then you get into the very like, active thinking. But at the same time, yeah, it's still very meditative. So at night would be that.
Yeah.
Which it's hard when you have to wake up early, but hey, you need sleep.
So how many hours do you sleep? 3.
Never. Yeah, between like 4 and 5. I think.
Okay, so but then your body has to get used to it somehow. So do you eat like really healthy, or how do you manage that?
Try to. I think it's just habit. At this point, like, yeah, I mean, I accepted the fact that this is it. And, I try to work out during the day, like at lunchtime. That usually helps with kind of keeping the energy up. But yeah, it's just, it's crazy how much your body shifts once you kind of decide, okay, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
We're not changing it. This is working. I'm being productive. So let's keep it up. And then, my sleep schedule changed completely, but I think it's fine.
Yeah, because I was reading actually this book. I don't remember where was it, but they were saying as well, if you decide on your own before you go to sleep that you will wake up like fresh and not tired, and it works apparently.
Oh, that's
So I
interesting.
don't know. Yeah, because
I will
if you
try.
yeah, right, because if you go to sleep and you're like, oh my God, it's so late and I have to wake up early, I will be tired, then you actually like wake up tired.
Yeah.
So there is some technique for it.
That's fascinating. I mean, I believe it because strange things have happened.
Might be, I don't know.
Like waking up exactly at the time you're supposed to. To me, that's weird that your
Yeah.
body can know to the minute. Like 6:00, you have to wake up and then boom, your eyes open.
Yeah, that
How?
happened to me
How?
as well. I was like, what is
It's so weird. But I guess we can do it.
Yeah, and so,
No sleep.
yeah, let me know. I'm really
Kidding.
curious now. And with the project now, do you have something exciting you are working on, maybe also work-wise and personal, which you can share already?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if you know. I just launched a Kickstarter for a book that I'm making.
Ooh, nice,
Yeah, I was
nice.
super happy. It just happened like a few days ago. It's for a sketchbook that I've been meaning to make. Actually, I was compiling it for like 6, 7 months already.
Perfect.
And I was gonna do it on my own anyway, but I met a guy here, Steve, who helped me go to Comic-Con, and he also helped me with the Kickstarter campaign. He suggested that we do this campaign because his idea was, if we raise more money than expected, then you can really put a lot more stuff in your book. Like you can make it way better. You can print it more.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let's do it. And it's work that I've done for, I guess, before my daughter was born. For like 6 years now.
So
Sketches
cool.
that I've been in. So it's pretty big book.
So
So that's one.
how many pages does it have? Do you know already?
Right now, it's actually it just went over 160, and
Wow.
it might go even bigger. So we're doing a version for Kickstarter that's only available there that's like 184. But now that like we're meeting some stretch goals, we're adding more pages, we're adding like spread out, so it might get close to 200 easy.
Wow, amazing.
Which I'm like,
Congratulations.
bigger book, make me work. I'll do it.
So
Thanks,
cool.
that's super cool. That's super
A-
exciting. Yeah.
And when this will be available? Like for people that are excited about this?
Well, the Kickstarter is live now, and we're going to
Yeah.
print it in October.
October.
So
Okay.
for the backers, they'll have it. Hopefully,
Awesome.
I'll try to get some distribution, like down in LA, in some stores that I've been working for the last few years. Same in San Francisco. Hopefully, around the US and the world, that'll be awesome.
Nice, nice.
And I'm also doing a short film, so pretty busy, which is crazy. Why not, right? It's crazy. Which, yeah, we had to put on pause for now, just because of like all these stuff happening, plus crunch time at work. I don't want that to suffer at all. That's my main thing, right? So the short film, I'm hoping that will be done by the end of the year too, because it's pretty short. I just love that format of a short film. I haven't done one since school, and it's funny that it's weird. Like when it rains, it pours. It is so true. Like as soon as I decided to do the short film, is when I decided to do the book. Is when I decided to do Comic-Con. It was just like this chain of events, and all of a sudden I went from 0 to 100. So this year I'm still like, okay, so far we're doing okay. We're not. So one thing at a time, and that's why I decided, okay, the film can wait a little bit, and finish the book first. Yeah, and actually, the book is going to help fund the film a little bit too, so I can pay some of the people who've helped me already a ton. I want to kind of give back a little bit for that hard work.
Yeah, because I think you will need a team soon, maybe.
Yeah, well, the film has a huge team, and I love them. Like, they're the best people ever. They're all here. They work at Pixar, and they've given me their free time on many occasions, and I'm just so thankful because they don't have to.
Yeah.
So like just them being passionate about it, again, it kind of that whole idea of like my parents being passionate about my stuff makes me work harder on that. So I don't want to disappoint now. The same thing with having a team. It's kind of that outside pressure. Like you can't let these people down.
Yeah.
Because they've trusted you. So I don't take that for granted at all. Same with everything, I guess.
Yeah, and how do you look for people then to work with?
Here it's easier, right? Because you can know people, and the team's not that big. We're 12 people. So, no, it's not like a huge recruiting session that we did. But definitely just asking around, I was like, do you know anybody in edit? Like, I really need an editor fairly early on. So-and-so was like, oh yeah, like you should talk to so-and-so and see if they're free. That's kind of how we found at least half the people. It's just somebody knows somebody.
Makes sense.
And then other people, I just knew that they were incredible at many things. For example, our After Effects person, Andy Jimenez, he turned out to be a phenomenal composer. I had no idea. And he's like, by the way, I do this too. I'm like, you're hired for everything. Whatever you want to do, please. And he did the music for my Kickstarter as well. Nice. And everything that he does just blows me away. So it's good to be versatile and have multiple talents. Because you never know when they might come in handy.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I might borrow him. It sounds dreamy.
Yes. Oh my God, he's incredible for sure. Let me know because he definitely wants to be a composer more. I think than ever before. But he's truly passionate about it.
Oh, that's so nice. And now with as well as we talk with the projects and stuff, how do you kind of decide what to say yes and no to? Maybe what is your self-talk?
Well, with my personal work, I guess, yeah, I've been contacted quite a few times about commissions,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard. It's hard to decide because you kind of want to get excited about everything, but oftentimes it's just a matter of like if I can if I can deliver something in a reasonable amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
There was one gig recently that I had to turn down because it was just too much work, and it was a lot of digital stuff that I haven't done in a while, but it was kind of like a huge volume of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, well, realistically, I don't think I can deliver this amount of work in such a short amount of time. Not that it was digital; it was just a lot.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
since I've been focusing on my sketches, like every time I get something related to that people get excited about, I'm super excited as well. Because I'm like, oh, that's great. That's exactly what I've been doing. So I mean, it's hard to pick and choose, and I want to go back to the digital world, but I think that'll be a little later this year than now.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
guess whatever it's whatever you are passionate about that stands out the most is to you should take on, because if you take on everything, it becomes then you regret it later on. Like, oh my god, I should have charged more. I should have not let people get freebies like corrections a ton, and
Yeah,
you don't want to dread your job. That's, I mean, it
yeah.
happens. It happens all the time, but definitely if you kind of can tell early on that you can avoid it, you
Yeah,
should.
yeah. And now, when you have like different things going on, so you can combine your income like from job, then from maybe the book and other movies. So how many income streams can you combine?
Well, the book is new. That's
But
like a
like in
one
the
time.
future.
Yeah, definitely. Sure. I mean, I do some commissions. So that's been one revenue.
Hmm.
Definitely, the book will be the next one because it's something that kind of sells itself. Like I don't have to actively draw you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Each
yeah, yeah.
one. To be honest, I don't know how that's gonna go. I'm new to that world, but I definitely wanted to do it because there's a lot of work that I have compiled, and why not like make it in a book and
Definitely. Yeah,
get
yeah.
some money from there?
Yeah, more passive income. That's good. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's tricky. I don't know. I don't know how some people do it. There's some people that do everything so well. I'm still like, I don't know how to do one thing, and then I'm taking on these projects. I hope they're successful.
But so far everything is going well, so that's good.
It's weird. You kind of jump into it. That's one thing too that I think I've mentioned before in different interviews. Not to overthink it. I think us as women, we do that all the time. We're just like, how good is this? Like this has to be 100% before I initiate, right? Like I have to be 100% sure. Where in my experience, like you don't have to be 100% sometimes. You just kind of have to have that gut feeling that okay, this will work. We
Hmm.
just have to figure it out and trust that you will figure it out as you go. And that's to me that's one of the things that helped me be so proactive.
Hmm.
It's just not overthink. Like just it's when they say oh no, instead of thinking, do it,
Yeah.
right? Like Star Wars a little bit. So um, you know, just go for stuff so that you don't waste years in overthinking.
Yeah, definitely. Because I'm usually also asking like what is the worst career moment, and what would be the takeaway. So
Mm,
is this something what you would say, or do you have a different story?
worst career moment. Hmm.
Or kind of
Yeah.
difficult?
Hmm. I mean, I've done some projects with
Hmm.
like commissions, not commissions, sorry, some freelance work uh, during college when I was here at Pixar. That was just it's different type of directing, and
Hmm.
when I guess it's difficult for me to engage with someone's project if they're not very passionate about it. That's happened.
Hmm.
They're like, well, then why are you doing this? You're not super passionate about it.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me. So it wasn't really a difficult moment. It was just very different. Because here, everybody's so passionate all the time that I kind of inherited that by default. Then I'm like, okay, so if I do something on my own, like I just have to be super passionate about it. I don't have to necessarily know every step of the process correctly and completely. As long as the kind of the drive is there, it'll end up being something good. So yeah, I'm sure you. I don't know if you've experienced this, or just working with people that just kind of, like, no, don't be like that.
Exactly. Or they are passionate about something else and then it doesn't, work together well. So then,
Oh yeah,
that's another thing.
It's strange, but it happens.
Do you have maybe some books or movies or something you would recommend to people? Like this is definitely something you should read or see?
Book-wise, I mean, I'm a huge fan of like Egon Schiele. He's one of my all-time favorite artists. So anything by him, definitely. Just because what I love about his work is that he takes the kind of the roughness of drawing to his advantage. Like he's not trying to hide it. He highlights it, and it then becomes like such a powerful tool. So I'm trying to do that in my work right now. Movie-wise, I love, oh my god, anything that comes out of Studio 4C in Japan.
Yeah.
I'm huge fan. They did Mind Game, To Concrete. I don't know if you know these movies. They're just animation, just beautiful animation, very quirky storytelling, and you just kind of get that inspiration for your own stuff. I remember when Mind Game came out, I was in college, and like we just geeked out. It was just beyond incredible what they did, and very daring because it's a feature film, but the storytelling is kind of almost like live action. I want to say kind of Tarantino, like just stories intertwining, and all of a sudden this story that you remember comes back. Just great editing, but it's animated, which when you think about it, animation is the opposite of spontaneity. Like everything is planned out to every frame. So to see that kind of filmmaking is refreshing. So if you're an animation buff, definitely check that out. I'm sure people who are animation buffs know about it.
I have to see it. I haven't yet.
Great.
And so now, do you have also maybe like a favorite pencil or favorite tool you use all the time?
Yes. I use the blending stick for everything.
Okay.
That's like, I feel like it's my trademark at this point. So weird. Because people always ask me, like, what is this tool? I'm like, it's just the blending stick, which is, like rolled up paper.
Yeah, just like.
Yeah, it's actually, it wasn't like an intention. Like I wasn't looking for kind of a look. I was just trying to save my hand because from cross hatching, I was getting really bad RSI, which is like kind of like you strain your wrist and even my arm, like it went up to my shoulder. So I was trying to figure out like a kind of a shortcut to cross hatching, and that thing proved to be my answer, and I love it.
Perfect.
I feel like I should sponsor the company and just promote blending sticks for them.
Maybe they can put your
like
name
an infomercial.
on it,
Yeah, I'm down. I'll do infomercials. All of it. I'm such a fan. Yeah, that's the one thing. I mean, it's funny that you asked me this because I get that question a lot because some people like, how do you get some of the smudges? Like, what is that? It's like eraser. So it's like the same answer, like blending stick.
Yeah,
blending
just
stick. You just show it. blending stick.
Yeah.
And yes.
Yeah. I should add some effects to your video, with some glow and all of that. That would be cool.
With a bunch of blending sticks.
Just everywhere.
It's just all of them just randomly pop up. This episode is sponsored by Blending Stick.
Oh, I will get them.
So you might get some random sponsorship from
That would be fun.
company.
Yeah. And do you maybe have some other tool maybe you bought or kind of or software which simplifies your life?
Versus the blending stick.
Yeah, maybe that. Or do you just go everywhere with a blending stick?
Let's see. Well, for animation, like right now I'm using TV Paint. That's a big one for 2D stuff. And Toon Boom's amazing. So for my short film, I'm using both of them to kind of, the first pass of animation that we're doing is completely 2D. So we're using TV Paint for that. And then Toon Boom is this incredible tool that does a little bit kind of like 2.5D of animation where you do, you can do hand-drawn stuff, but then you can also do a lot of puppet.
Okay.
I don't know how to do it. It's magic. It's unbelievable.
Oh, nice.
So we're using both tools for our film. And as soon as I have something, I'll send it out and show you the look. Because it's kind of an interesting mixed media look that we get as a final result. So apart from the blending stick, those are the two softwares. And yeah, not much. That's it.
Oh, good.
Really.
Yeah. Now I started to think about the Halloween costume and then the blending sticks for some reason.
There you go.
That's good. Or
You'll get a lot of questions, but do it.
It's like, what is that?
Yeah.
Or the main character in the animation,
Oh. Okay. You stop with a blending stick.
Yeah, that might be cool. And do you have a favorite quote, maybe?
No. I don't. I don't know. Nothing that I can remember from the top of my head.
But okay, it's just I love quotes, so that's something weird. But
Do you have one?
yeah, I really like the you are average of 5 people you kind of are influenced by, and then that's kind of the thing which you become, because if you want to be like a millionaire or whatever, then you should hang out with billionaires, and then you like find out how they think, what they do, and so if you want to be good animator, hang out with good animators, and these kind of things.
Definitely helps. That's awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because if you hang out with,
I wonder who the 5 people are now. I have to think about it. Interesting.
Yeah, like your
Definitely
close
know
circle.
some artists. True. That's true. It's awesome.
Yeah. That's good.
Maybe for some other interview, I'll have a quote. I don't have it right now.
Good. Then we should do a follow-up in like a year or so, and then you can, talk about your new movie and everything. The quote.
It'll be just the quote. That's it.
The whole time.
Weird.
And, okay, let's move on.
That'd be so weird, but maybe it'll work.
Yeah, maybe someone would like it. And so let's talk about the future. If you imagine yourself in like 5 to 10 years, where would you be, or what's happening?
I would love to, just do more of my own stuff. That's kind of, I'm already headed towards that direction. So both drawing, films, just push for that, just get back on that course. Because, when you're working full time, like, you don't realize how quickly the years pass. Like, I've already been 7 years at Pixar, and I'm just about to do my first short film since college. So that was like 7 years ago. So I want to break that habit. I don't want to wait another 7 years before the next one. So as long as this keeps going and I do more art, more films, that would be awesome. And to report back in 5 years and be like, here's a bunch of stuff that I've done. That's kind of it. I don't really have like a kind of a vision in terms of like, oh, it doesn't mean I'm going to be independent or working for somebody. Because I see it all the time, you do something, like people go here, they take a break. It's part of the industry.
Yeah.
Definitely pushing for non-personal stuff. It's key.
And the last question I would like to ask you is about like far future, and what would you like to be remembered for in like 100 years?
I guess my art. Yeah, because it all goes back to it. I studied this. I've always been passionate about it. And right now, I told my friend this. It's like once I had my daughter, like everything that I draw, I kind of have her in mind. Like, oh, will she be proud of this? Like when she sees it in, I don't know, 50 years or so, like will she be like, oh, my mom did this? I kind of have that in mind, and it made me take my stuff seriously and kind of be like, okay, it's not just a hobby. Like this is a passion, and definitely, hopefully, my legacy one day.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Okay.
I like it.
Awesome. Yeah.
And maybe if you have like a last piece of guidance for people before we say goodbye.
I think would be just don't quit. I don't understand people who are very talented and then just give up their talent, because I don't know, it's just it's too. I mean, I guess I can't speak for everybody. For me, I'm like, oh, this is the one thing that kind of puts meaning to, like my daily routine. Of course, family, that comes first. But like for your own like sanity, you kind of have to keep it up. There's hard times, there's art blocks and everything, but I don't think people should quit. If there's something especially that they were passionate about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you want to do it, then you will always find the time and the thing to do it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So thank you so much for being here and taking time from your crazy busy schedule.
What are you talking about? It's so chill. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. That was very fun.
Oh, cool. So thank you again, and thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and let me know in comments. Also, please subscribe to my channel for more videos, because I post new interview every single workday. You can also find the resources mentioned in this episode at artsideoflife.com. Just type a guest name in the search bar. There is also a little freebie waiting for you, so go check it out. If you want to listen to the interviews on the go, make sure to check out the podcast episodes at artsideoflife.com/podcast. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and don't forget to inspire each other. I will see you guys in the next episode.